1, 2, 3, 4. We suck at speed running. That's probably why no one wants us around. We suck at speed running. That's probably why we don't get paid. It's just me and my buddy Kevin, two lone gamers without intervention. We thought this would be a good idea, but no, not really. We suck at speed running. Nobody asked for this, and that I know for sure. We suck at speed running. We know you all do too, so just enjoy the show.
Hey, this is Mike, and this will be my first time recording for my buddy Eric's channel, We Suck at Speedrunning. I'm just going to get right into it. So, I want to talk about Nintendo. Nintendo is, well, it definitely is, not even probably, it definitely is my favorite, video game company of all time. Still. However, there's a lot of bullshit going on with Nintendo that I just need to vent about. And everyone's venting about this, or, everyone's talking about this on, the YouTubes and all that, social media. But, a lot of them are just talking about, the price increases, but, since the tariffs and all that. I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about Nintendo as a company, as a whole. Just some of the things that I've noticed happening as far as, their customer service, their general, just the way that they show that they care for their customers, which I'm starting to doubt that they do at this point. I'll give some examples. So one of them is, I'll give a game as an example, okay? And this is a little while ago. This is way before this bullshit started happening with the tariffs, so this has nothing to do with that. One of my favorite games that came out on the Switch was Super Mario Maker. Well, actually, it came out on the Wii U first, and then later came out, the sequel came out on the Nintendo Switch, Super Mario Maker, and then Super Mario Maker 2 was on the Switch. But Super Mario Maker, that's the game I want to talk about, because that game got so freaking huge. When the very first trailer dropped, I was unimpressed. I was kind of like, well, it's cool, it's got some tools, and it really looks like you could just mess around with like the the first stage. If anyone's ever played Mario, you know what that first stage looks like, and they just show tools where you can kind of mess with that, and that was great. Well, it was okay. It was like, okay, that's cool. And then they dropped this one trailer that I think is the official trailer. That is what they should have led with, because that blew my fucking mind. It was crazy, because what did they do different? They showed you a hell of a lot more tools, for one thing, but they showed you other layouts, other worlds that you could do. It was crazy. Underwater, you have the underground. With the first one, I have like castle and all kinds of that, and the second one improved on that because they actually added more. Crazy freaking cool. And they showed us more of the enemies. They showed more of the editing. And I was so into this game, like I was counting down the days on a freaking calendar until this reached out. They got me so hyped for that game that I actually, on a what was it? Like on a iPad or whatever, I freaking drew out the first course that I knew I was going to make. I literally drew it, like how the people that made Mario, how they made their courses on paper originally, and then made it digital and all that. That's what I did. I freaking drew it out, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna add this, and this is how this should go, and you're gonna play it like this. And I did it. When the game released, I actually did create that level, and to me, it was badass. It was like so cool. There's way cooler stuff, honestly, but I was very proud of it, and I loved that game for a long time, and so did fans, and it showed. Everyone was going freaking ape shit over those trailers, and so many channels did Mario Maker videos where they were just playing other people's levels, and just it was just insanity, like what you could do. And what was really cool about it, and this kind of goes into my whole point of Nintendo detracting from what they used to be. In the original Mario Maker, which was on the Wii U, like I've stated, there was just this sense of exploration to it. You got to take an item and just kind of play around with it. Like, what happens if I take a Goomba and put a super mushroom over it? Oh, it grows. Wow, okay, well, intuitive and explorative. Very cool. What happens if I shake this thing? Does it do something different? Oh yeah, it does. That's freaking cool. They did that with a decent amount of items in the game, just like little secrets like that made it fun. And I wish they continued that, because in the sequel, they completely got rid of it. And the Switch, it has a touch screen. Like the Wii U, it has a freaking touch screen. So they could have kept this in there and and changed it. Okay, so obviously you'll have some of the things, drag a mushroom over it and make things grow, all that shit, but they could have done oh, here's a hammer, bro. All right, now you're gonna put a fire flower over it, and now it's a fire bro or whatever. And they did have a fire bro, but it was just it changed to where it was, you just click on the item, and then the option, whatever the additional option is, comes up, and you just select it. That's just bleh. That's whatever. I really feel like that was a big step back. And now, I'm not shitting on Super Mario Maker 2. I still play it. And secretly, I'm hoping for a third to come out to fix some of the issues I'm going to keep going on about. But it was good for what it is. I just feel like it was a step back. And it shows that there was a tipping point of when Nintendo cared and then they didn't care. That there was a big turning point there. And they really could have, with this AAA, well, I guess it is like Mario, so it's got to be a AAA title, right? With this title, that's theirs. They could have done so much more with it. Honestly, they could have. They could have added so many more layouts. They could have added more enemies. They could have done all this. They have the money to do it. They just didn't. They just put it out there and they're like, oh, here you go. It hurt. It really freaking hurt. And there's a lot of fan-made Mario Makers, online, that you could do. But I'm not a computer gamer. I wanted that shit on console, and so I'm not gonna go to that. I want Nintendo to do it and do it right. And just other stupid decisions in the second one, like they have more power-ups in this one. One of them, which was like the Mario Maker Mario, where you get like a hammer, and you can actually, besides banging stuff with a hammer and destroying it, you can also create out of thin air blocks that you can throw and and stack, or like make a bridge on some water or something, which is cool. That's fine. But the big missed opportunity there is you can only really break blocks with the hammer moving forward. So I actually tried to make a course that was based around the whole, Mario Maker, Mario mechanic. And boy, how I wish that you could break blocks with the hammer in a downward direction, kind of make it like you start all the way up at the top and you're digging your way down. Okay? Now, you can ground pound. There's that as an option. But and that's basically what I resort to. I just wish the hammer was more useful. You can't ground pound through like these gray blocks, these cement-like blocks, but you can hit it with the hammer and break through, I believe. So you could have used the hammer for those areas that you can't ground pound through. It would have been such a, so much of a cooler level if they had that. And this really, really sucked for me. Back in the first Mario Maker, they had, a giant Mario, kind of like a pixelated giant Mario, where, you just walk and smash through blocks, right? And you could jump and smash through blocks too. In the second one, they have the same thing, but they took it away. They took away where I think it's either the forward or the back, whichever one I wanted, and I wanted both, but they took away its functionality. They took away half of its functionality. Why? What led them to that decision? It just seems so stupid, and you're just taking, so many steps backwards. Why the fuck would you do that, Nintendo? What kind of decision is that? It doesn't make any sense. It was a fine power-up, and then, you include it in the next game, and you screw it up. You drop the ball. Just all these decisions that Nintendo makes that shows that, one, they're not listening to their fans. Two, they don't give a shit about their fans. It hurts. And I don't know if that situation is going to change, because Doug Bowser, who I think he fought for the fans a little bit, at least. He wasn't as big on the on fan service as Reggie was, but he was decent. But now I don't know. I guess we're in between presidents, or maybe they have one lined up, but we have no idea how he or she is going to be. So who knows? Nintendo could make a turnaround, but maybe not. Because now it seems like, to me, the biggest thing for them is money. They just want to make money as much as possible by doing the bare minimum. When they used to be innovators in this space, they used to create amazing shit. They used to create amazing games. And now it's just I watch a Nintendo Direct and I'm like sad. I'm sad. When I used to be hyped. Again, putting that shit on the calendar. When is the next Nintendo Direct? I'm in for this shit. I want to see this right now. And, comes up and it's just more than half of it is bullshit. And the other thing is, the biggest issues to me started happening when they started stepping away from their AAA games and going into the indie game space. Allowing them more options on on their platform. So there's nothing really wrong with that, because fans love those games on other systems, and now boom, here it is on the Switch. I like that. That's all fine. But I feel like it was a decision that Nintendo made just for the money. When they could have just maybe gotten the same amount of money, if not more, keeping to what they used to do best, and making kick-ass AAA games, and listening to their fans and saying, hey, we want this, we want that. it was just a decision to keep up with other companies that are perhaps excuse me, that are perhaps doing way better. And it's just, yeah. Well, I don't know if I have any more points to go on about Nintendo, but if anyone's listening to this, and I'm sure there are going to be people, I want, let's see some comments. Let's get some comments in there, and what do you think about Nintendo? Are you guys like longtime fans? What do you think? Have you completely lost hope? Do you think they can turn it around? Because there's been times when Nintendo's dropped the ball in the past. They've had their failures, and they were able to turn it around. For me, I'm still holding on to hope. I've been a Nintendo fan for almost all my life. I think I was still in diapers when I played my first Mario game, which was Mario Duck Hunt on the original NES, and I've been with Nintendo ever since. And I'm at 36 years old now, almost 37. So a long ass time to be a fan of something, and I'm gonna keep rooting for them. So yeah, thanks for listening, everybody. Have a good one.